What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. I hope you all have had a great Friday as we made it to the weekend finally. There is some things to definitely talk about. The tropics continue to look interesting. I'll leave it at that. But there's still some disagreements, and there's some big things showing on one model and some other big things showing on another. So we'll talk about that and really start to break down what I'm starting to think on things, just my personal opinions. So right now, there's some activity going on in the south central U.S. and the panhandle of Texas, some severe storms. You also have some severe weather that's going to be ongoing throughout the weekend, and it's going to be a very stormy and wet pattern developing across the south central U.S., places like Texas, Oklahoma, up to Kansas, and things like that, even areas a little further east into Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri. But we're also going to be talking a lot about the potential for some tropical development in the Gulf of Mexico and what could be an interesting next weekend. So we're going to continue to watch that, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button for me. It's a great way to support me, a very small YouTube weather channel, but I continue to hope to have growth. And I think I will. I got a lot of people on here to watch me, and that are awesome supporters, and it's like a family atmosphere here. So definitely like the video if you like it, and I appreciate the awesome support. If there's anything I can pray about, guys, please put it in the prayers. There's a lot of people who do it, and I've seen other people comment on other people's prayer requests, and prayer is powerful. It'll help you. Just ask for help. So we're all here for you. So let's get going. Let's talk a little bit of weather here. We're going to start off by looking at the GFS. So it's the operational GFS is the 18Z. It's the one that just came out. So let me make sure my mic is good. All right. So we're good. So we're going to get rolling here. This is this weekend. One thing I want to notice about the Southeast, I want to mention about the Southeast, is there's a potential that we could get into a drought. And I'm going to talk about why towards the end of the video, but there's a chance that we're not going to see much rain over probably the second half of May, unfortunately. So I'll kind of hint on that. I'm just giving you hints. Stay along for the rest of the video too, because there's a good bit to talk about in this video. So what you got going on here, we're getting through time. We're getting to in about midweek. Notice all the rain and storms firing up over Texas. This is just going to be day after day of heavy rain, several inches of rain, potentially 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain. But notice this development. You're getting into Friday. Check out this. That's a low pressure popping off the basically the southwest end coast of Florida. Sea surface temperatures, and I'll show you this here in a second, in this area are in the low 80s right now. They'll probably be even warmer as we get into the next weekend by maybe a degree or two, who knows. But they're pretty warm right here in this area. So in the low 80s, no, that's not super warm, but that's definitely manageable for tropical development. But as we get going here in time, it really starts scooting across the Gulf of Mexico. And what's going on is there's a high pressure sitting right here. And depending on the placement of it, depends on where this thing goes. Now, this is just the GFS, and I'll mention that it's just the GFS showing this. But I will mention that the GFS has been showing something for about 3 days now. The consistency is remarkable, actually. And I tell you, last hurricane season, the GFS did well when the Euro did pretty poor in the grand scheme of things. So you're going through in time, we're getting into late next Friday. This is next Friday, next weekend in general. And this thing is scooting on. No, it's not some Category 5 hurricane. No. But this could be a high-end tropical depression, borderline tropical storm, moving into the Gulf of Mexico, and Saturday night potentially making some kind of landfall into Louisiana, the coastal areas of Louisiana, maybe Mississippi, Alabama. Who knows? Panhandle, Florida. Who knows? Might be Texas. Might not be anything. But I will tell you, it has been consistently showing here. And what's going on is, like I said, there's going to be some kind of high pressure here. And if it stays in this area, it's going to basically travel the base of the high pressure. There's hardly no shear around in this area, and I'll show you that too. And it's going to follow the base of it, which it's going to pivot around the high pressure and move it into the Gulf states here. Now, I want to show you the GFS run from 12Z because it's very interesting also. It's even more interesting. It actually develops this thing into just a full-blown tropical storm. But here it is. Same time frame, you're getting into Friday night. getting into Friday night into Saturday morning. And look at this. This thing is 997 millibars pressure here. That is definitely probably a tropical storm, and it's heading into Louisiana if this scenario was to play. So I don't know what Louisiana did, but they have been getting slammed lately, especially last hurricane season where they got hit multiple times. So this is just one run, but it goes in and delivers a lot of rain to areas that already has a lot of rain. But this is just one scenario. This is from the run at 12Z today. So we'll back up to 06Z. There is something there, but it has it moving in faster. Back at its 18Z and even 18Z yesterday, or this is the same run but yesterday, and it shows something. So there's something been showing up here. You notice I want to show you the Euro, and get into the same time frame. You get into the next weekend. There's nothing. Nothing's there. It just shows normal activity. It just shows a lot of moisture, but not really associated with anything tropical. So I want to mention that, the Euro, just like yesterday, is still not really biting on this at all. And, we sit here and we look at the winds. This is just 10. This is basically just wind speed. It's not maximum wind gusts, but it shows up on, and we're back on the 18Z GFS. It shows up on this. Check out. You just got normal wind flow, basically riding around this high pressure, normal kind of wind flow. And then basically you get into the weekend, you get into Friday, and notice, here it is. Here's the low pressure. You see a little spin. It's going to be really hard to see on your screen. I know this is a little screen. I'm going to find ways to make this bigger for you guys. Every time I get on weathermodels.com, it's always very small. But basically, this would be Anna. This would be the first name of the hurricane name list if it was to develop into a tropical storm. But here it is, right here. This is inside 10 days. This is inside 7 days, really. But here it goes. You have wind speeds of 30 to 40 miles per hour. So it might potentially be a tropical depression. It might make it to a tropical storm. But here it goes, making some kind of landfall along the Gulf states. There's no point in really naming a specific state because it's going to bounce back and forth. But that is a tropical system in May again. So it's very interesting to see how this is going to unfold as we look at this and figure out what goes on. Now I want to show you the shear around the same time frame. Basically, wind shear is a hurricane's weakness. It's a hurricane's kryptonite. It's what literally tears apart hurricanes and weakens them very fast. And hurricanes really can't develop when you have areas of high shear. So basically, the reds and things like that, and the deep grays, or whatever color you want to call that, brown, is high shear. High shear right here, high shear here. You definitely see high shear when you have troughs and things like that. That's when you see high shear. You notice this is the tropical system. The more blues and the whites and this kind of grays and the greens, and you get into yellow, you're starting to get into moderate shear. But you notice around this is the low pressure. There's not any high amount of shear. So this thing can develop somewhat in marginal conditions. And you look at, like I said, I already showed you this is the sea surface temps. They're doable. Now you start to border the Gulf states. You're getting more north. You get sea surface temps maybe in the upper 70s, and this is in Celsius, guys. So 24 degrees Celsius, that's what that means. So that's like the upper 70s or so. So basically anything that forms here might weaken quickly prior to landfall, but we'll see. It's really no point talking too deeply into that, but this is definitely worth mentioning. This is very interesting. And even across social media today, a lot of meteorologists started mentioning this, saying, hey, there might be something brewing. So what this is heights. And so this is going to show us where there's troughs. It's going to show us where there's high pressure. So basically, and the reason I'm telling you what it shows is because basically, no thanks right now, thank you. So basically, what you got here is the pinks and things like that showing up right here. That's high pressure building. That's a ridge of high pressure. These things right here, you see dipping right here, these little kind of bulbs, if you will, or dips, that's troughs. So you got a big time trough setting up across the west coast, and it's digging so hard that it allows a ridge of high pressure to kind of flex its guns. This is kind of what happened during winter last year, when we basically got a huge trough that dug here so deep that it forced the jet stream to buckle up, and it just kind of stuck us in mild winter weather, while just west of us, like Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, were freezing their tail off. So this is kind of what this is doing. You have high pressure building, so you have high pressure right here. So here's your little low pressure popping off here. Tropical systems can't go into high pressures; they roll around them. So that's why this low pressure right here is rolling around this high pressure building right here. So that's kind of how it works, and we're gonna talk a lot about that. I want to mention the Euro. The Euro is a storm chaser's fantasy for the Midwest, because this is why. When you get, this is getting almost 10 days out, about 8 to 9 to 10 days out. Basically, this is lower heights. These are higher heights. So basically, what this is going on is you have a trough in the west and a ridge in the east. So that means that low pressures are going to ride up through here. You're going to get a warm, moist flow with a lot of heating going up through here, and you're going to have storm systems that ride up through here, and that is going basically along the base of the trough, and that's going to allow energy to be right in here, and you're going to get plenty of thermodynamics in place to create the potential. And this is just one European run, the potential for severe weather as we start to get to the latter part of May. So basically, you got the Euro showing a severe weather outbreak here in the next week, and you have the GFS showing hurricane season ramping up in a tropical system in the Gulf. So what's going to happen? I mean, who knows, man? But it is very interesting, and I'll tell you what, the GFS has been flexing its guns when it comes to tropical, when it comes to the tropics, basically. But I'll show you the Cape, how that is responding to basically what I just showed you, the troughs digging and the ridge building. And look at all the Cape midway next week, all the way through the end of next week to the end of next weekend. And yeah, that's a lot of Cape building north. That is a recipe for a severe weather outbreak and major severe weather across the Midwest if this was to occur. But if something like the GFS was to occur, basically the moisture transport would screw everything up. This would not occur if the GFS solution was to occur. Now, I want to show you the last thing. I know a lot of people haven't made it this far into the video, but this is what I worry about for us in the Southeast. I say us because I'm located in South Carolina. If you're in the Carolinas or Georgia, if something like the European really happens, and even the GFS shows it, but really the European really shows it. If something like the European happens, we are going to go, some areas are going to go the next 10 days without rain, I think. And the reason why is, like I've said earlier in the video, high pressure develops. You get pretty much in the summer, you get hot, stagnant air in the, and you basically get hot, stagnant air basically in the southeast when a ridge develops over the southeast. When the ridge develops anywhere, you get hardly no wind flow. The best thing you can hope for is maybe just a pulse storm, but there's nothing to really keep them going, and you just got to pray that you're lucky that you're under that one spot that gets a pop-up storm or shower. So we got to hope that doesn't happen. Nobody wants to get trapped under the southeast ridge for too long because, one, it's hot, very hot in the summer. When it happens in the winter, you basically have well above average temperatures and higher humidity. You obviously don't get temperatures in the 90s, but you get above average temperatures. In the summer, especially when you get in June, July, when you get on our southeast ridge, what happens is you get no storm development. You get temperatures into the low to mid 90s, and you get hardly no winds to cool you off during the day. So that's kind of what happens with that. So we got to hope that doesn't happen because that kind of weather sucks, in my opinion. I don't know how anybody can like that, especially when you can't even get a storm in the evening to cool it off. Those are the kind of nights where it's still 90 degrees at 9 o'clock at night. So, yeah, I'll pass on that. Anyways, but thank y'all for tuning in. I'll keep y'all updated all through the weekend on this because it's going to be very interesting to see if the GFS solution holds throughout the weekend. So, Thank y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a great and blessed night.